Welcome back to the JiangHu Hangar. This is Mike. Today I will talk to you about the JoyToy Warhorse White, and it is a Dark Sorcerer, whatever it says there. It's the 1/18th scale and all that kind of stuff. I bought this because I thought it would be a great replacement for an Indiana Jones horse because the original one is so expensive. Hasbro refuses to make it for whatever reason. I guess they've just given up on Indiana Jones entirely at this point. But you got to count on companies like JoyToy to fill the gap, and I think this is an interesting looking horse. It's very articulated. It's got a lot going on for it. And we're going to talk about this, and I think it's just Shozy. And it's $30, which I think is a great price, especially for it being a company like JoyToy, who's not Hasbro and not Mattel, and they're not as big as them. But I will have a link for this in the description below. But let's take a look at this horse coming up. All right, taking a look at the box, and it's just real simple and plain. I mean, I don't need anything special, especially because it's just going to be a horse I'm going to open up. No instructions with it whatsoever, and I guess I should check out someone else's review. No one really telling me what the stand's all about. It almost looks like it's a fence for it to try to jump over or something, but I think I figured it out. But anyway, there's the box, real simple. Before we go any further, I want to say that the benefit of having this horse is the massive level of articulation. But I also think too much articulation is a detriment. I feel that way with the whole Super 7 versus Classified, with the Ultimates versus the Classified, that Super 7 I think looks a little bit better because it doesn't have so much cuts in it. Now this thing has cuts all around, like the butt's got all this going on, and the reason is for the articulation. So let's get into the articulation. You got the head that moves up and down, and as it moves up, it does change the neck, which that is really cool. I mean, that doesn't really break anything. That looks pretty good. And I think it should go side to side a little bit, but not much. And then the neck itself can pivot around just a little bit. Maybe it's not supposed to, and I'm just making it. And then I got something on there. It's from the factory or something. I don't know what that is. And okay, then you got, goes all the way to the front, all the way to the back, and then you can move it out, in and out a bit on its own structure there. And then you have knees right here, and then you have another point articulation right here. So you can do stuff where you could get it up here with kind of like a prancing pose, something like that, which is great. I mean, that looks fantastic, and you can do all that stuff with it. But again, you have some breakup right here because of it. And then the saddle's okay. The saddle's kind of cool. It looks cool. But then you get to the back here, and you have this. Now this is, you have all of this articulation in the back. The legs can do all kinds of stuff that you'd want it to do. And if you have it in a dynamic action pose, then it looks so much better. But just kind of standing, you can see the breakup, and it looks like, why so much? But that's a choice they decide to make to give you all the articulation that you want in this. But looking at from the back here, you can go out all the way like that, and then it can go up to here, and then back to here, and then you have articulation right here, like so, and then you have articulation like that, and then articulation right here, so that you could get kind of something going on like this. I don't know, what's a natural horse pose? I mean, I am not the horse poser over here, but anyhow, you can get some more natural looking poses. And it is set to where the bone structure of a horse, so it does make sense the way it's set up. But can I get them with that prancing? Yeah, we got to pop like that. Then you also have the tail, and the tail goes, you really need to fold it around to get the tail up in the air. So that's something you need to do. But I gotta say, with all the articulation, it makes it a little bit less stable. So I could have done with less articulation, but that's what they're going for. They're going for the high level articulation, and it looks good aside from where the sculpts broke due to the articulation. Look at the paint on this. Now, there is so much subtle detail paint on it everywhere, and that is for a $30 horse, which is, I think, a good price for this, which I don't think that Hasbro would have put a retail one. A retro one that's got like 12 parts, this probably has like 30 parts, wouldn't have this level of paint for sure. And they would charge at least 30. I don't think they'd even get a horse out for 20 bucks. So here is the paint right here, the eyes, and then it's just kind of subtly changes through the face, going up here to the top of the head and then the mane. Then those ears, a little paint in the inside of the ears. That's pretty good. A little bit more paint all the way through here. That's great. Paint from another project on there, I guess. And then the paint on the saddle, the silver, looks like it's got some metallic to it. It's got tiny little spot of silver on the stirrup there. So that's really kind of cool. You do have sort of a bit of some dark washes in it, so it's not just like super bright white. It's got some, like you'd see with a natural horse, a real horse. The hooves are painted, and then down below it's a little bit kind of a dark wash on the lower legs. Probably getting into some little dirt there. And then got the tail, which it's not just one color, it's got color to it too. So pretty much everything on this has some paint. It's not completely 100% painted, it's more like accent painted, and it gets the job done. It works really well. Looks amazing. It's an amazing looking horse. And again, my only complaint would be the articulation cuts. For aesthetic wise, the paint is spot on. I know I messed around with it earlier and had it in this sort of drinking pose. I think you could probably put the hoofs forward a little more and get it closer to a drinking pose. Just so realistic when you get it posed, and the articulation cuts don't show as well or as bad, I guess you could say, when they're in a pose, something like this. So this is something else I just thought was really ingenious. JoyToy stuff, I've got one of their playset, or it's a diorama sets that I love. It's in my Aliens display, and now there's horse, and I don't collect everything JoyToy, but I've been kind of watching it from the sidelines, and I like the work that they do. They do good work. I feel like it's really good quality, and I think that they sort of think outside the box and try to do things different that no other company does, so JoyToy does pretty good work. We have this stand, and there's no instructions, but they show kind of in the picture something about it like looking like a square or some, like why do they do that? Let's see how they try to make it look in the picture. Something like this. I don't know. What they showed in the picture, something like that. Looked like a fence he could hop over. But it is a stand from what I can gather, which I just knocked that off. And it has this extra piece so it works with the horse. And I guess it's a generic stand that they use. But I found that it's easier to do this and then fold this around and then put this here. And then you could have him in him. I assume it's a male horse, but who knows? Who knows? Have her in there. Oh, look at this. Look at this. I didn't see that. I don't know if that doesn't fit. So that's why they gave you this. But you can slide this under there and it matches. And you got your horse. I mean, not so much flying. But let's see if Indiana Jones can hang on there. Jumping over something, maybe. Jumping over a fence. Jumping over... Okay, you already saw Optimus Prime chilling here from another video. Jumping over an Optimus Prime or something. Let's see if we can get Indiana. Name the horse, Indiana. It's not the most stable thing in the world. But once you get it... Whatever. There it goes. Set it and forget it. Let's see if I hit the table, if it falls. It's holding up. Whoa! Okay. Here's the size comparison versus the Indiana Jones horse. And I gotta say, first off, horses are different size. So that's okay. It almost looks like Indiana Jones is riding a pony over here. Really, it does. So this does look more accurately scaled for a horse. But if you're wanting to match the original Kenner, this does not exactly do it. Of course, the sculpt is much better, and there's a lot of pluses, and there's some minuses to it, but side by side, and there is another look at it. The problem is the original horse is like a $300 price now. I haven't checked it in a while. Maybe they've gotten cheaper. You can get one for $100. I got mine for $100 a few years back, but I just don't see them that cheap anymore, especially complete. And for $30, I mean, it's a no-brainer in my opinion. If you want a horse for your Indiana Jones, it is hard to get it on there. I'm going to show that here in a bit, but it doesn't sit as well as, say, this tiny little pony over here. But it'll work. It'll work if you really want it to. I know this horse was not intended for Indiana Jones, and I know I'm beating a dead horse. Hold on, what? I reached my pun limit for the week on the video I put out on Thursday. Okay, so I'll have to be done on puns. Done with puns. Okay, I can't stop. But let me get on here. Okay, so this horse, I think this was like 20 originally. I got it for 6 on clearance. It was like stupid cheap. But maybe they originally $14.99 or 15, maybe 20, somewhere around that price point. It was just stupid expensive for this tiny little horse. This is nothing. I mean, your Indiana Jones can't ride that. It's nowhere in the ballpark. So for a little bit more, you can get this to go with your Ninjas. Now I know this wasn't made for. This is one of the things about all these different companies making all this different stuff for all these different scales is that if you just like it, you can buy it and you can make it work. Like I make this work. I make things work in my collection, and I'm gonna make this work because it looks good. It's impressive. It's an impressive feat, and I think $30 is an adequate price point for this. All right, so this is the JoyToy Warhorse White. It is a pretty interesting horse. I've never owned a horse like this. I don't know if there's other horses out there that have done all this before, and I'm just the last person to find out about it. But I think they did a pretty good job with it. I think it looks good overall, and I love the paint that's on it. I love the articulation, but I don't like the articulation cuts, and I don't like the lack of stability because of the articulation. But once you set it and forget it, you get it in a pose, you can make it do whatever you want. And if you want to kind of throw Indiana Jones figure on there, even though it's not made for it, you can do that instead of trying to seek down a $300 vintage one, and it gets jugged. And the more I mess with it, the easier it's getting popping them on and off. So that is a thing. Anyway, I'm curious what you guys think about this. Does anybody else have any more JoyToy stuff like horses or whatever this war horse line, whatever goes with it? I don't know if there's knights or stuff that's supposed to go with it. But let me know in the comments below. I did get this at Show Z. I'm going to have a link down below. $30. Great price for it, in my opinion. And TH reviewer code, help Tydirium Hanger out. So I can buy stuff like this and review it that I probably wouldn't have if I didn't have the support of viewers like you. Anyway, like, subscribe, Tydirium Hanger out.